So the first thing that you want to take into account is the age of your credit profile. So if you have a young credit profile, then that can get you straight up denied when you try to apply for funding for your business at the banks. So what is a young credit profile, or what's too young that will cause you to get denied? Anything below a year. So at minimal, you want it to be at least a year old. So that means that you started building credit, or maybe your first credit account is at least a year old. But here's something else you want to consider. If you have, let's say, a older credit profile, credit history, let's say maybe 5 years or something like that, but you have recently applied for and gotten a bunch of accounts on your credit report to try to, build up some credit or add accounts to your credit profile, get some credit cards on there to try to help strengthen things, then basically that can lower the average age of your credit report. So even though you have a 5-year-old history, your average age of credit might have decreased significantly because of those accounts, especially if you got multiple new accounts. So just keep that in consideration as well, because if that does lower your average age of accounts too low, then that can actually get you denied too. Now, the next thing we want to focus on is credit score. So this is pretty simple. Anything under a 680 credit score, you put yourself at risk or higher risk of getting denied. Yes, there are some accounts out there that you can get with a lower credit score than 680 at some banks, but the majority of them, you're going to really increase the chances of getting that denial if you are under a 680. You really want to be at 750 or higher to ensure that you're not going to get denied. And that's also where you start getting higher limits than at those lower scores. And if you're between, 680, 700 to 720, you are like right there at the borderline of getting approved. And also you'll end up in a range of getting those lower limits. Keeping in mind that this is a layered process in order to get approved and get higher limits. So this one thing is not going to be the only determinant of what limit you get, or even your approval for that matter. Another thing that you want to look at that can get you denied is going to be your inquiries. So if you have too many inquiries within the last 6 months, that is something that can also get you flat out denied when you apply at any of these banks. Now, one rule of thumb is you want to have no more than 3 inquiries within the last 6 months in order to make sure that you will not fall into the category of getting denied in this area. Of course, keeping in mind that some banks are more sensitive to a certain number of inquiries than others, but this is going to be the best rule of thumb to prevent a denial from any of the banks. So when it comes to that, you either want to, you definitely want to check your credit report to see how many inquiries you have on each bureau. And then you want to wait maybe a certain amount of time to ensure that you don't have inquiries within that 6-month time frame if you have inquiries within the last few months, or to expedite being able to get your funding if this is an issue you have.